I have two items of old business. The first is I wanted to update you all on on the meeting that occurred with PennDOT. Members of Steve Sanacero's office had met with the representatives of PennDOT on Monday, and if you will recall, at the work session, I asked for input from members of council if we had any questions or concerns, and I got the feedback from Ryan from that office yesterday. And the first question was, there was the gateway design in the township which ends at the border of the borough, and there was a question from a member of the traffic committee whether this gateway design could be redesigned to extend into the borough. And the response to that was, well, that would have to be a whole new project. So the current project ends at the border, and if we wanted to have a gateway design on Washington Avenue in the borough, then it would have to be submitted as a new project. The second question was, can we reduce the speed limit on Washington Avenue to 25 miles an hour? And I was informed that what the borough needs to do is to write a letter to a person at PennDOT, whose name I did receive, on stationery, requesting that the speed limit on Washington Avenue be reduced to 25 miles an hour. So based on that, I was wondering if I could ask for a motion tonight to authorize me to compose that and send that letter to PennDOT requesting that the speed limit on Washington Avenue be reduced to 25 miles an hour.
I'd gladly make that motion.
I figured you would. Would anyone gladly second?
I'll gladly second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, well, we'll compose that letter and get it out in honor of Pedestrian Safety Week.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the third question was regarding the ramps and the construction on State Street, and PennDOT, the PennDOT representative said that he would send that information off to the permits inspection person who was in charge of that project, and presumably that interaction has already occurred, and that is perhaps why there will be a meeting between Mary Ellen and the PennDOT personnel regarding the ramps at State and Washington. And the fourth question was with regard to the letter that council sent to PennDOT requesting that the traffic study for Promenade be expanded to include crucial intersections in the borough. We have not had a response back from that letter. As a result of the meeting on Monday, that letter was to have been forwarded to the appropriate person at PennDOT, and hopefully we will get an answer back soon. And we will be informed of any future meetings. There aren't any scheduled at this time, but I've been assured that the borough will be informed of any meetings to come up, and if we could have input or if we could send a representative. And the second item of old business I have is regarding ordinance that the previous council worked on and off on during last year, and it didn't go anywhere. And this was a change to the ordinance regarding the fee in lieu of trees revision, which took a fair amount of research in old emails and solicitors' reports to figure out where that was. And as I understand it, the ordinance was rewritten to increase the fees to a developer regarding if trees were removed and not replaced, so that would be the fee in lieu. And that ordinance went to the Bucks County Planning Commission, came back to the Bucks County Planning Commission, but had never gone to the Borough Planning Commission. So then it went to the Borough Planning Commission, and the Borough Planning Commission, I believe, kicked it back to the Shade Tree Commission to say you might want to increase the fees. Am I getting this correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it sits. And so I was asking council whether we would like to resurrect this ordinance and see if we can move it forward, particularly in light of potential future development in the borough, which may require some fee in lieu of trees.
It's ironic because Marcia just sent me an email about this the other day, whether we were just going to dump it on John's lap. Or, and it sounds like you've already done some of the research that I was suggesting that we do. I would suggest that your timeline of events is exactly right, and I think the proposed ordinance that we had I thought was pragmatic and got to what we wanted to get done, but the Planning Commission wasn't happy with it. as a former member of the Planning Commission, I didn't take it personally, but it did cause us to take a pause, and I don't think we've started back up again yet. So my note back to Marcia was I'd like to take a shot at sort of putting it all together in sort of a memo form for the Shade Tree Commission and take up again. I think that we have a gap there in our ordinance, and we're not at the level. There's two things that we want to get accomplished. One is preserving our tree stock, and then the other is if indeed during the course of land development subdivision trees are to be taken down, that we want to make sure that we are sort of at a level of compensation in terms of a fee in lieu of that is appropriate for the size of the tree and consistent. Right now, that gap still exists. So the answer to your question is yes, I think we should be working on it. And I don't know, John, I don't know if you guys have talked about it at the Shade Tree Commission yet or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't.
When does Shade Tree meet again?
Well, we could get together earlier if we had to, but it would be in June. April? June.
So I'll deliver this project to the two of you
So
then?
John and I will work together
Okay.
to kind of put something together.
Good. Okay, very good. Any other old business? Any new business? Okay, public to be heard. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Are we going into executive?
Oh, and to, yes,
We're going into executive.
yes, to go into a short executive session. Do we expect to come out of this, or should
Best to leave it open.
we leave it open?
Yeah.
Okay. We will be turning into an executive session. We will be going into executive session at this time with the possibility of returning to an open meeting.
Can we have a not to exceed on that executive session?
Certainly. Can we not do? I don't know. You owe us some time, don't you?